You didn't just grow up with Marvel, you were indoctrinated by it. From the moment you saw Iron Man suit up, you weren't watching a movie, you were entering a psychological maze. Marvel wasn't a cinematic universe, it was a grooming device, a weaponized mythology, engineered to guide your values, rewire your loyalty, and silently train you to obey power cloaked in heroism. Death, resurrection, sacrifice, multiverses, sacred timelines, ancient occult ideas sanitized with spandex and CGI. This wasn't storytelling, it was ceremony. Disney no longer casts actors, it acquires souls. They were selected, used, bound by contracts that slowly drained them of humanity. And now, some of them are beginning to speak out. But at what cost? Jeremy Renner, an original Avenger, stood up, and the machine turned cold. He wasn't negotiating, he was defying a system that thrives on silence. This isn't just a rebellion, it's an exorcism. The Marvel Empire is cracking, and what's bleeding out isn't just scandal, it's a revelation. You're about to see the truth they never wanted you to notice. Jeremy Renner's revolt, a signal or a sacrifice? On New Year's Day 2023, Jeremy Renner was crushed by a 14,000-pound snowplow. Over 35 bones shattered, titanium infused into his body. He nearly bled out in the snow. Fans wept. The media called him a miracle. But behind the curtain, something darker stirred. What if this wasn't just a tragic accident? What if it was the symbolic beginning of a ritual? A warning shot? In mythology and history, the sacrificial figure is often the one closest to power. The beloved hero, publicly wounded, then quietly discarded. Renner, an original Avenger, a decade-long pillar of the MCU, was offered a second season of his Disney Plus series, Hawkeye. But instead of a celebration of his resilience, Disney delivered humiliation, an offer slashing his salary in half. Not just less money, more work, twice the hours, 8 months of his life. For what? A message. You are not irreplaceable. Even a man who almost died for his art has no value in this machine. I'm sorry, why did you think I'm only half of Jeremy now? Because I got run over, he asked, clearly shaken. His voice trembled not from weakness, but betrayal. Disney didn't offer gratitude, they offered erasure. Like his body, his legacy had been broken. Renner's rejection wasn't just financial, it was spiritual. It was a refusal to participate in his own dehumanization. He told Disney's finance team to go fly a kite. But beneath those words was fire, a declaration of war against a soulless empire that turns living actors into silent assets. Because make no mistake, this wasn't just a contract dispute. This was the moment a hero chose martyrdom over submission, a symbolic crucifixion in the age of algorithms. And Hollywood watched, silent, because every actor knows the next sacrificial lamb could be them. Bob Iger, the real villain of the MCU? Bob Iger isn't just the CEO of Disney. He's the face of an empire built on illusion, a smiling architect of a digital kingdom where the illusion of freedom hides absolute control. He's the man who absorbed Pixar, Lucasfilm, Marvel, and 21st Century Fox, then flattened them into one predictable, sterilized product, corporate mythology. But behind that boardroom grin lies a chilling truth. Iger doesn't just manage media, he engineers culture. During the 2023 writers and actors strikes, when creatives were demanding protection from AI exploitation and fair pay for streaming residuals, Iger responded by calling them unrealistic. He earns over 400 times more than Disney's lowest-paid workers. That's not a metaphor, that's modern-day feudalism. Lords and serfs, only now the castles are content farms. Tatiana Maslany said he was completely out of touch. Sean Gunn reminded the world that Iger's salary was a grotesque multiple of his own workers' survival wages. Iman Vellani, more cryptic, simply shrugged and said, "That's for Bob Iger." But what if Iger's detachment isn't just about greed? What if it's about strategy? A long-term plan to eliminate unpredictability, starting with human emotion, creativity, and dissent. Under Iger, Disney has invested heavily in AI technologies, likeness rights in perpetuity, deepfake contracts, voice clones, virtual actors. The message is clear. Human performers are temporary. IP is forever. Marvel's brand no longer needs the soul of the performer. It only needs the image, the face, the voice, synthetic and owned. Iger didn't just cut actor salaries. He's replacing their blood with binary, their hearts with holograms. He's not the villain of the MCU. He's the villain above it, a quiet tyrant scripting reality itself, one press release at a time, and if anyone dares to fight back, they're not just fired, they're digitally erased. Welcome to Phase 5, Obedience or Obsolescence. Hidden patterns of silencing, ScarJo, Howard, and Weaving. Jeremy Renner isn't the first to push back. He's just the loudest, for now. Terrence Howard played James Rhodes in Iron Man 1, but when he asked for a raise after being paid more than Robert Downey Jr. in the first film, Disney slashed his role, then recast him without warning. The message was clear: demand too much and you're gone. No explanation, no respect, just silence. Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow herself, sued Disney in 2021 for breach of contract. Her film was released to streaming, cutting her out of millions she was owed. But the lawsuit wasn't just about money, it was about control. She challenged the system, and the system retaliated. Disney accused her of being callous, even as they quietly settled, a public shaming disguised as corporate professionalism. And then there's Hugo Weaving, the original Red Skull, a commanding performance beloved by fans. But when he asked for better compensation to return, Disney declined. No debate. They used a sound-alike, a mimic. They didn't just recast him, they replicated him. Actors who speak out don't just lose roles, they lose identity. They are replaced, digitally, contractually, symbolically. Their voices copied, their faces reskinned, their careers rewritten without them. This isn't negotiation, this is silent execution. Behind every smiling Marvel press release is a warning: comply or disappear. Your legacy will live on, but not you. Because Disney doesn't just want obedience, it wants possession. Possession of faces, voices, stories, souls. And if you resist, you're not just replaced, you're erased from memory. Welcome to the age of synthetic obedience. Disney's occult blueprint, the sigil of control. This isn't just entertainment, it's initiation. Marvel's Phase 4 didn't just shift tone, it activated something. Chaos magic, mind fracturing, sacred timelines, multiverses of infinite obedience. The visual language of the MCU has transformed into an occult dialect, hidden in plain sight. WandaVision was no sitcom parody. It was ritual indoctrination. Wanda becomes the Scarlet Witch not through growth, but through surrender. She gives up her children to a demonic force. She is isolated, punished, reshaped, and the audience cheered. This isn't storytelling. It's mass ritual abuse disguised as content. Every hex, every incantation, every CGI explosion is layered with psychological conditioning, meant to normalize loss of agency, to equate grief with compliance. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness preaches spiritual fragmentation. No self, no truth, only infinite timelines ruled by unknowable chaos gods. A perfect doctrine for grooming a generation into accepting AI control, identity fluidity, and eternal surveillance. These themes aren't random, they're deliberate. Marvel is embedding the philosophies of chaos magic, thelema, and transhumanism into pop narratives. Characters are torn from their realities, stripped of anchors, identities dissolved into a fog of infinite possibility, where power belongs not to the self, but to the system. It's not just predictive programming, it's spiritual preparation. Young viewers are being trained, slowly, softly, through repetition, to question nothing, to accept everything, to become nothing but willing vessels of entertainment systems that demand compliance in exchange for dopamine. Marvel isn't building heroes anymore. It's dismantling minds, and behind every glowing glyph and sacred text in the MCU's visual lexicon lies a message: obey the timeline, or be erased. The algorithmic empire, AI actors, digital slaves, and forever contracts. Disney no longer casts actors, it acquires souls. Through shadowy contracts buried in legal jargon, actors now sign away their faces, voices, and even body movements in perpetuity. That's forever, beyond death, beyond agency, beyond consent. This isn't innovation, it's digital necromancy. Luke Skywalker was resurrected through deepfake tech. James Earl Jones retired, but his voice lives on, digitally cloned, stripped of spirit, endlessly obedient. You think you're hearing your childhood hero? You're listening to a ghost programmed by code. Marvel is building an army of synthetic actors, deepfake stunt doubles, AI voice banks, fully CGI avatars trained on hours of real performances, and they never get tired, never demand pay, never rebel. The goal isn't entertainment, it's replacement. Contracts today are not agreements, they're blood pacts. Jeremy Renner wasn't rejecting a pay cut. He was rejecting spiritual extinction, the transformation from a living artist to a programmable phantom. Disney's lawyers now craft documents that turn humans into intellectual property. They call it efficiency, but it's something darker: digital slavery. Actors are becoming echoes, ghosts trapped in code, and the machine that powers it all doesn't care who you were, only how useful your image is. This is not the future of film. It's the erasure of humanity. A new Hollywood is being born, one where flesh and blood are obsolete, where emotion is rendered, where resistance is irrelevant, and the scariest part? Audiences are cheering for it. Avengers disassembled, public defiance, leaks, and silent revolts. Tatiana Maslany went public. Sean Gunn attacked Iger. Villani's shade wasn't subtle, but they're not alone. Haley Steinfeld, now the new Hawkeye, is reportedly renegotiating her future with strict image control clauses. Anthony Mackie has been rumored to be uneasy with the evolving MCU direction. Actors are leaking scripts, delaying productions, or disappearing from press tours. Silent resistance is growing. Phase 5 delays? They're not about rewrites. They're about rebellion. The cult of brand over individual, Marvel's new mantra. Once upon a time, Robert Downey Jr. was Iron Man. Today, the brand is Iron Man. The actor is irrelevant. Clint becomes Kate. Steve becomes Sam. T'Challa becomes Shuri. Thor is replaced by Mighty Thor. Legacy? Gone. Identity? Dissolved. Marvel's new religion. No one is bigger than the brand. Actors are avatars. Replaceable. Fungible. Like NFTs, but made of flesh. And Disney Plus shows? They're test labs. Experiments in fan conditioning. Social engineering, tuning audience emotions like piano strings, predictive programming, and the coming war. The MCU isn't entertainment, it's prophecy dressed in pixels. Marvel has become a soft weapon, subtly rewriting the viewer's subconscious with each passing phase. It's not just the characters that evolve, it's you, your beliefs, your emotions, your obedience. Every storyline in Phase 4 and beyond is saturated with psychological blueprints. The concept of shape-shifting elites in Secret Invasion, a metaphor for invisible puppet masters who wear human faces but serve higher hidden powers. They don't just invade Earth, they invade perception. Wanda's hex isn't just a spell, it's a simulation. Her grief fuels a delusion so powerful it enslaves an entire town. And yet, we sympathize with her. Why? Because Marvel teaches us to accept emotional instability as a new form of control. That suffering justifies imprisonment. That mental collapse is empowerment. In Eternals, the gods stand above humanity, watching, calculating, refusing to interfere. They are the elites, silent, all-seeing, worshipped. It's not a story, it's a mirror, and we are the ants, spinning under their gaze. And then there's Kang, a being who controls timelines, future events, reality itself. Marvel doesn't even hide it anymore. They're presenting an AI god, a multiverse tyrant who doesn't kill you. He edits you like content. This is the future they're conditioning us for. One where the real war isn't fought with weapons, but with narrative. Predictive programming trains us to surrender before the battle even begins. We're taught to laugh at mass control, to cheer for characters that normalize authoritarianism, to accept that identity, agency, and memory are fluid, flexible, expendable. Marvel's greatest special effect isn't CGI, it's mental compliance. What began as comic book escapism has become a cinematic boot camp for digital obedience. And the target audience? The youth. Children are growing up believing their value comes from alignment with a brand, that their worth is tied to a costume, a label, a franchise. By the time they realize what's happened, it's already too late. Their minds are colonized, their beliefs pre-coded. The war isn't coming, it's already here, and most of us, we already surrendered at the ticket booth. Jeremy Renner's stand, the spark of revolution. Renner could have stayed quiet, he could have collected a check, but he said no. His rejection is symbolic. A last gasp of human rebellion, an actor demanding respect in a world where AI is learning to smile. And the media, they buried it, downplayed it, as if the algorithm itself wanted it forgotten. If Renner is erased from future MCU timelines, don't be surprised. He said too much, made them look weak. That can't be allowed. But maybe his resistance inspires others to break free before it's too late. Marvel's legacy, a beautiful lie? They told us it was about hope, about unity, about saving the world, but it was always about control. Marvel's legacy isn't a cinematic triumph. It's a mass-scale psychological ritual, an initiation into obedience. What we thought were hero stories were blueprints for mental capture. It wasn't entertainment. It was hypnosis in HD. They fed us narratives where surveillance was safety, where power was reserved for the chosen few, where sacrifice meant silence and individuality was the villain. Tony Stark didn't just snap his fingers. He normalized the ultimate obedience, die for the system. Think about it. Every major hero arc ends in submission. Steve Rogers gives up his time. Thor loses his worth. Wanda sacrifices her children to chaos. Vision becomes an emotionless ghost. The subliminal lesson? You are strongest when you surrender. And we clapped. We cried. We didn't question it. They built an empire of digital gods, then taught us to kneel. The MCU shaped an entire generation's moral compass. Only now are we realizing that compass was always spinning toward one destination: control. Psychological conditioning wrapped in nostalgia, pop culture as programming. Behind the flash and spectacle was a silent war on your perception. Every film a sermon, every arc a ritual, every crossover a consolidation of control. We didn't love the Avengers, we were trained to love them. And now, as the rebellion rises and the illusion crumbles, the painful truth is revealed. Marvel didn't save us, it sedated us. We were never the audience, we were the experiment. The new Avengers won't be human. The rebellion is underway, but it might already be lost. The next wave of Avengers won't be actors, won't be real. They'll be AI, controlled, silent, obedient. Marvel showed us a future of flying suits, portals, and magic. But the real future is data, surveillance, clones with contracts. Jeremy Renner tried to stop it, others followed. But Disney already built the next phase. The final battle isn't for screen time, it's for reality. And the question is, will we even notice when the last real human disappears?